good people of YouTube? Mountbatten here, and today we have the newly released Tier 10 American battleship Vermont to review. This is, of course, the new Tier 10 of the American battleship split line, and, well, the Minnesota and the Kansas have been out for some time now for us to get early access on and to get our hands on them. But the Vermont is the thick one herself, and we're going to go ahead and look at her today. So let's go ahead and dive right on in. No captain skills have been applied, nor modules equipped, nor flags equipped. Let's take a look at her armor. So 32mm bow, no icebreaker bow or anything there. 32mm deck, 51mm central deck, and I believe this should all be 38. Yep, 38mm plating on the side. That got buffed a while ago to cut back on some of the HE spam. Well, not to cut back on the HE spam, to cut back on the effectiveness of that HE spam. So that's all 38. It's still 51mm of deck armor, 32mm in the stern, 32mm stern plating, and then a strip of 292 down here. So let's take a look at her Citadel. So there's a Citadel. It is just above the waterline. Although with the ranges that this ship is going to be engaging from, I doubt it's going to eat much Citadels, just like the Minnesota. Maybe, if you're up close and you've unfortunately found yourself in like a brawl or something and you're turning hard over and it gets exposed, maybe. But then again, they got to get through, these massive torpedo bulges first too, which of course could be possible. But we'll see. Oh, there's a... Oh, look, it's got 318mm of armor behind the torpedo bulges. I like how that doesn't show up when you take the bulges off. So, yeah, okay, so, I don't think you're getting through this unless, again, you're turning hard over in a brawl. Maybe. But, I mean, look at the rest of the ship. There's so much ship for you to chunk here with AP or HE that doesn't really matter that the Citadel is almost under the waterline. Just means it won't get blapped often, if at all. All right. So she has 102,800 hit points with 40% torpedo protection damage reduction, which I would actually expect that number to be a bit higher because, again, like, look at look how massive these torpedo bulges are. I mean, like, come on, like, that's got to be more than 40%, right? I guess not. Ship is massive, though, and does have a good amount of hit points. All right. So her artillery, she has 12 of these 18-inch guns. They are 457mm guns, so they cannot overmatch 32mm of armor. So they have a 40-second not 180 time, a 40-second reload time, a 45-second 180 time, maximum dispersion of 305 meters. You get 6,450 maximum HE shell damage with 43% chance of starting a fire per shell. That's pretty good for a ship with 12 guns. And 77mm of HE shell penetration. For AP shell, you get 15,750 maximum AP shell damage, with a base maximum range of 24 kilometers, and an initial AP shell velocity of 732 meters a second, and an initial HE shell velocity of 800 meters a second. So you have 40-second reload time and a 45-second 180 time. Good golly. It is worth noting that now the Vermont has the title for the heaviest broadside in the game. She has taken that away from the Montana. So our secondaries, you get 16 of these, well, pretty standard American 127s. Base reload time of 6 seconds. Maximum HE shell damage of 1,800. And a maximum range of 6 kilometers. Alright. Her AA, it's got some 91. Now, the A rating itself at 91 sounds pretty good, but again, as we all know, with the CV rework being a thing, AA is kind of whatever. Maneuverability, it's all the way down there at 24. Oh, that's low even for battleship standards. Maximum speed, 23 knots, and with the speed flag, you go like 23.5 or something like that, or maybe 24. Turning circle radius of 850 meters and a rudder shift time of 19.1 seconds. Concealment, detectable range by sea, 17.5 kilometers. So, it has none. That's what that means. Alright. So I'm going to go ahead and put a captain on her and module her out and put the flags on her. And we will reconvene here. Oh, before that, though, I do like this, like, they designed this divot just for this one set of 40mm Bofors. Like, the whole ship was designed to make sure to include one set of AA guns back here. Oh, okay, naval engineers, okay. Anyway, I will slap all that on here, and we will reconvene here in a moment. Alright, so with captain skills and modules apply, well, let me show you what I got first. So, I forgot to show you guys her loadout for her consumables. So she gets the hill, she gets the DFAA consumable, and a choice of fighter or spotter, and this is the improved American battleship hill, so it's a pretty nice hill. DFAA, interesting choice for this ship to have. For the modules, I went with Main Armaments Mod 1, Damage Con 1, Artillery Plotting Room Mod 1, Damage Con 2, Concealment, and the Special American Plotting Room Mod 2. Sorry, the American Artillery Plotting Room Mod 2. I've left out a word there. So there's certainly an argument to go for Main Battery Reload over Artillery Plotting Room Mod 2, but with the 11% boost to dispersion, I would think this would be the better choice. However, again, certainly I can see the argument to go for Main Battery Mod 3, but for the purpose of this first impressions, we will try out the Artillery Plotting Room Mod 2, and if I find it's not working that well, maybe for the second impressions of the video, we'll give Main Battery Mod 3 a swing. Commander build, pretty standard American battleship build. Preventive maintenance, MLG turrets, especially on these turrets with a 45-second rotation time. Adrenaline rush, superintendent, concealment expert, basics of survivability, and of course fire prevention. And now we have, in terms of artillery, a maximum dispersion of 306 meters, and of course our range is much further out now, so the dispersion is much greater. She has a maximum range of 28.4 kilometers. So if you put the spotting plane on there, you would have a range of well over 30 kilometers, which with the flight time of these shells, especially the velocity of 732 meters a second, I don't think would be very practical to use. So we'll see at that. Now, I don't know if I'd be shooting out at 28.4 kilometers all the time, but certainly at further ranges, the Artillery Plotting Room Mod 3 will help us out there. And, what's her, yeah, maximum speed is 24.2 kilometers now. Such a very fast ship indeed. So guys, I'm going to go ahead and take her out into battle, and, probably since this is, of course, a more snipey ship, there won't be live commentary, and I'll probably just transition to a voiceover or something here, so I'll see you guys there in a second. Alright guys, voiceover Mountbatten here, and well, the Vermont. This ship is actually not what I was expecting it to be. If you guys go back and watch my Minnesota first impressions review and then the follow-up video to that, you guys will see that I was pleasantly surprised by the Minnesota. I said that her guns were nice and consistent, and the 40-second reload felt like it was pretty okay because of that. The guns felt good and consistent. However, with the Vermont, I gotta say, it's, I don't know, it doesn't feel as consistent, especially at longer ranges. Now, of course, the Vermont has a much longer range than the Minnesota, so naturally, that has to be taken into effect, and when you're using American battleship AP at the ranges that Vermont can get out to, it's incredibly difficult to aim. You have to put massive leads on ships at 24 kilometers. Heck, at 20 kilometers above, you have to put huge leads on ships. And even below that, you have to give it more lead than normal. Any American battleship player knows this. So take that and apply that to the Vermont. Sniping at ranges of 24 kilometers, it's friggin' rough. So, of course, you don't have to snipe out that far. You can, of course, engage targets that are much closer. You have the range and options to do that. Now, with a concealment build on here, too, being just Concealment Expert and the Concealment module, your concealment can get down to 14 kilometers, which is kind of nice. You know, you will go undetected in between salvos and have plenty of time to do that because of the 40-second reload time. But the issue is with engaging targets from, you know, about 13 kilometers to 15 kilometers. That's pretty close by tier 10 standards, and definitely close for the Vermont. You don't have the speed to disengage. So if they try to push you, you can't leave. You can't kite for very long because they're going to be on top of you, pretty darn quick. And even with the speed flag, 24.7 kilometers. Oh, so fast. Sorry, 24.7 knots. So fast, you just don't have the speed to disengage. You're pretty committed with the Vermont on whatever flank you choose to go on. And if you want to leave that flank, it's going to take you freaking half the match to reposition. So you got to be pretty darn committed to a flank when you choose it. And that's another problem with the games now at tier 10. So often the enemy team just chooses one side and just goes to it. And in the Vermont, it's like, okay, I've got pretty good range for a battleship. Friggin' 24 kilometers with the build that I have. 28 kilometers with the build that I have on it. And I guess if I took the spotter plane, I could theoretically be hitting targets at the opposite cap. If I'm at the C cap and you're slapping targets at the A cap, you could be, but I'm not that good of a sniper. And the lead times for the American AP, again, it's huge. And by the time you're shooting targets over on the other cap, anything with a rudder can dodge these shells. You don't have to change your heading that much. Just freaking tap the rudder, and by the time the shells get there, they'll clearly miss. So it's not that great of a sniper. And I mean, it's like, okay, if the shells were just very, very slow and you have to put massive lead times on them, that could be totally workable and totally could be, a fair trade-off for the ship. But the accuracy, like I mentioned, comparing to the Minnesota, it's just not there. I don't know if I just had crappy dispersion for the matches that I played. The match you're watching right now is by far the best match that I had in the Vermont. And the dispersion, I had some pretty wonky salvos, as you'll see. But for this match, it was mostly good. And when the dispersion works, the ship does okay. But another thing you have to take into consideration is that you really do need a good team for the Vermont to do well. You need somebody to spot. You need teammates to stay around you so you don't get soloed out. If that doesn't happen, then you're up a creek without a paddle in the Vermont. It's so dependent, especially on spotting. Because again, 23 knot top speed. It's not like you're going to go out and spot for yourself. And of course, it sucks in any battleship when you don't have any spotting done for you. But at least with the Germans, you can throw yourself into the battle. Same with the Soviets, the Soviet BBs. If no one's spotting for you, you can get close because they got the armor and the firepower to do that. The Vermont, I mean, try getting close to 24 knots, which I do try to do. I have to do that. And in this match that you're watching right now, it doesn't end so well. But yeah, I mean, God. With a 40-second reload, these guns need to be way more consistent. 40 friggin' second reload. Take that and put that into a typical tier 10 match, which doesn't even go much beyond 10 minutes now in some cases. That's what you may get 12 shots off if you start firing from the second you spawn in, which you can do in the Vermont. I'll give it that. It can get some pretty good opening shots out on enemy ships, and that's pretty nice to be able to do. But again, you gotta give it a huge lead, and if they know that they're shooting at you, which opening shots they should know that they're shooting at you, that you're shooting at them, they can easily dodge it. Now, the slow American AP is, as always, good for dealing with cruisers. If you hit a cruiser with this thing, especially a broadside cruiser, with all the guns that this thing have, all 12, 18-inch guns, they're going to fill it. They're going to fill it right then, and they're going to fill it in the morning when they wake up. It will slap them that hard. It is very good for that. But again, try hitting a cruiser at sniping ranges with American BBAP. Good luck. AA feels decent. I mean, the match you're watching right now, it was a Lexington, a tier 8 CV, and I'm in a tier 10 Vermont with pretty decent AA by tier 10 standards, so it feels okay there. The DFA is it's nice to have that button that sometimes affects the enemy planes and sometimes feels like it doesn't. But as always with any battleship, I recommend sticking around other ships to combine your AA. Maneuverability is of course garbage. 23 not 24 not top speed at tier 10 is hot garbage, and the turning of this thing is such a pain because you bleed so much speed. You'll be going 24 4 knots, and then up now you're down to 19 knots, and God, it sucks. And if you hit a torpedo and you start to flood and lose your maneuverability, it's just like, can you just finish me off so I can go play a different ship? I mean, God, it's painful. It is incredibly painful to maneuver in this ship. But if you find yourself in the right position, we can get some good cross shots on the enemy team. You won't need to maneuver a lot. And with your 12, 18-inch guns, you will slap the enemy ships pretty hard. But at the end of the day, I don't like it. I really don't. It's not my playstyle. It's not that I haven't played sniping battleships a lot. Yami is my second most played ship. But, you know, Yami has 460mm guns. It can overmatch 32mm of armor. It pins a lot more than these guns do. And these guns do have a decent amount of pin on them. It's just that, again, with the ranges that you'll be engaging from with that American AP, they have time to angle or maneuver, and you wind up bouncing or missing, and then you gotta wait 40 seconds to reload. So, I mean, I may wind up slapping reload module on here, but with some of the salvos that I got using the plotting room mod 3 module, the special module that gives you a buff to your dispersion, it's like, God, do I really want to deal with what would be around a 35 second reload, but then have dispersion like worse than what I'm having right now? And I could have just had a bad run of RNG for these matches that I had, or it could really be this bad. You know, I just cannot see why they gave it a 40-second reload if this is really what the dispersion is like. And typically playing over 4 or 5 games, you will see the best of the dispersion and the worst of the dispersion, and you will get a pretty good idea of what it's going to be like. But if I just really got shafted by RNG that much, it could be. But I'm just not seeing it. And I don't think it's worth the grind. It's pretty thick. A good meme ship for that. But I don't like it. I wouldn't recommend grinding to it. If you like sniping, and if you have unlocked the Kansas and the Minnesota, or one of them, and you've played them, and you think you're enjoying them, then okay, go for it. Because it is just more of that. It's just a Minnesota with more range with 18-inch guns. And yes, when ships do slip up and show you broadside, you do remove a lot of their health in one go. And sometimes the salvos are quite nice, but overall, I don't think it's worth it. It's really boring to play. It's really frustrating at times when you miss and you gotta wait 40 seconds to get another salvo out. And that's just my 2 cents. That's what I think. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. You're planning on grinding up to the Vermont. Do you think it's worth it? Do you think the 40-second reload time is worth the dispersion that you get? You think the dispersion needs to be buffed a little bit? Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Hope you guys are having a wonderful, what day is this? Thursday! Hope you guys are having a wonderful Thursday. And hope to catch you guys in the next one.